Angry Florida parents, which is their permanent state, by the way. Both Florida and anger. Got a school principal fired because she showed a picture of Michelangelo's masterpiece, David, to 6th grade kids for her art class. Hope Carrasquilla was in her role as principal for less than a year at the charter school. Why was she showing it? The sculpture, which depicts the biblical character in the nude, was part of a 6th grade class's art lesson. So what was the problem? Ordinarily, a letter is sent to parents warning them of the lesson's content before it is given under a new regulation they passed. But Hope Carrasquilla, the school's former principal, said that a series of miscommunications led to the letter not reaching parents in time. That was enough to get her fired after just 3 parents complained about the lesson, including one who described the masterpiece as pornographic. The Tallahassee Classical School Board of Directors called for Carrasquilla's resignation, which she submitted earlier this week. Here's the shocking pornographic piece of art. We had to blur it for
but you guys, have you seen David? Please tell me you've seen David, right?
Yeah.
And like, trust me, it's not pornographic.
Yeah, imagine if she'd shown a piece of art with a normal sized penis. This David guy's got a little, tiniest little twig on top of some berries there.
David, I no offense, brother, and I know you're a mythical character, but you really wouldn't make it in Chatsworth.
Why do we blur it? Why did that happen?
Because of the absurd laws. This is the hilarious country we live in.
You can't show David, really?
You can't. I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd.
Well,
like it's a body part, guys. It's a
totally
50% of us have it, and the rest of you haven't seen it. Look, the issue isn't that we have a body part. The issue is what do we do with it? And if you show depictions of people doing things with it, of course you shouldn't show that to kids, of course, right? But these parents are like, we don't want our kids masterpiecing. What is this art that they're showing?
But this was depicting a piece of art of a character in the Bible, which is interesting because it's very selective outrage the parents in this country seem to show, because there's a book that takes things way more explicit, and it's called The Bible. One parent all the way across the country in Utah feels that it is unfair to expose kids to sex in the Bible when other books with much less vulgar content are being banned. In 2022, Utah passed a law banning books with pornographic or indecent content. The initial list of banned books included many titles that feature coming-of-age stories that also deal with themes of sexuality and gender, including Judy Blume's Forever, Genderqueer by Maya Kobabe, and 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. By those standards, the parent, whose personal information was redacted by the Davis School District for privacy reasons, is arguing that the Bible should be on the list. Incest, onanism, which means masturbation, I looked it up, bestiality, prostitution, genital mutilation, fellatio, dildos, rape, and even infanticide, the parent wrote in their request, according to the Salt Lake Tribune, which obtained a copy of the request. Quote, you'll no doubt find that the Bible has no serious values for minors because it's pornographic by our new definition. Hard to argue a well-made point like that. Here's a couple more examples describing specific passages from the Bible. A personal NSFW favorite of mine is the Song of Solomon. Quote from this Vice News story, a rapturous piece of erotica, the Song of Solomon, describing a woman's breasts in painfully horny detail as 2 fawns, and clusters of fruit, and pleas for a man to eat the precious fruits of her garden. King David is overcome with lust for a woman named Bathsheba, who he's been creeping on while she bathes, and commits adultery with her, later murdering her husband.
Damn,
that's cool
what a
on
twist. What a twist.
That's cool on bookshelves.
By the way, that's King David. So hearing about his like perverted actions and murdering the husband, okay. Seeing a statue of him, not okay.
Correct. And of course, there's Noah's son Ham catching his dad nude and drunk off his ass, and he accidentally sees his. For this, Noah curses Ham's bloodline to lives of slavery. And of course, Lot's daughters get him drunk and rape him repeatedly while he's blacked out. Oh, it's a family-friendly book. Didn't know.
So
keep it on the shelves.
Look, I like the trick where, in fact, I literally suggested it on the air that they try to get the Bible banned because it's way more graphic than any other book they've ever had banned. Now, do I actually want the Bible banned? No, I don't want any of these books banned, right? And so, look, if you want to expose your kids to that kind of porn, that's up to you. I wouldn't do it. I mean, like, I'm being very literal. Like, I would never read to my kids, oh, let's pick up the Bible here. Okay, then Noah's daughters raped him while he was unconscious. And then because they once, one of the kids accidentally saw his Xiao Ji, and that is a kind of a, it's kind of a Chinese word. It's kind of a cutesy Chinese word for male genitalia. Xiao means small, which is pretty appropriate for the David statue. Anyway,
they killed the firstborn. That would be you, honey.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's that too. And then he's like, oh, but we saw the Xiao Ji, so of course he made his descendants into slaves forever. Like, I would be worried about terrorizing the kids. I mean, guys, I've read the Bible. It's filled with sex. There's, I forget if it was Solomon or one of the other dudes. He's going by, and then he sees a prostitute, and he's like, oh, she's pretty good, and he has sex with her, and finds out it's his daughter-in-law. He's like, well, that's a tough break. Now, normally we should murder her, but you know what? She's pretty good, so I'm not gonna kill her. Okay, like it goes on and on. You know what onanism is? I love describing this one. The brother of Onan dies. God says to him, no, you have to take on your brother's wife and have sex with her. And Onan's kind of uncomfortable with it, and he's like, well, all right, okay, I'll do it. I mean, my brother's dead, and we were just hanging out the other day, and but all right, fine. And then he just can't, he can't get himself to finish inside of her, so he pulls out and spills his seed on the ground. And God is furious. He's like, I told you to finish inside of her, and kills him. And that is why they say do not waste the seed. That's what onanism comes from. You want kids to read that, but you thought one of the most famous pieces of art, a statue of just a body, was too much.
But occasionally, Judy Blume has mentioned that gay people exist.
I didn't know it was that bad. Rick.
Me? All right, Uygur, you're not impressed with David? It sounds like you gave this term that Ben and I were not familiar with, and you were putting him down. I mean, he's already in a sad state, and you're making it worse. You weren't impressed with him?
Well, look, I gotta say, his six-pack is definitely better than mine. So nice work on the abs, David. Okay, so and he's a good-looking fella.
Put up the blurred photo for us.
I find his penis to be uncomfortably blurry.
Trust me that we didn't have to blur much. Have you guys ever seen David?
Yeah, it's a huge blur. It's a very generous blur.
There he goes again. He's insulting David.
I mean, it looks like a baby's penis.
No, but seriously, for Michelangelo, everybody's like, oh, what a great piece of art. And yeah, of course it is. But like, his hands are unnaturally large. And his Xiao Ji not as much.
Put the picture back up.
Put it back up, please, because also the hair. How's that a masterpiece? Did he have like a cheap dollar store wig? Like, what kind of hair is that? It's made of roses. What? That's not what hair looks like.
No. I'm allowed to say this. I think they call that Jew. Actually, was the product he was using on the top of his head. Okay, all right. Let's get serious for a second. Barney Bishop, who spoke to Slate magazine, is the principal of this school, and he said, and I quote, which tells you everything: "We're Florida, okay? The parents will decide. Parents are the ones who are going to drive the education system here in Florida. The governor said that, and we're with the governor." I know, like, we have seen different examples of parents who homeschool kids or have a different way of educating their kids. This is the wrong way. This is way too far of a reach by the parents to say, I am not a fan of them seeing something that is quite literally history that kids are taught all throughout the world. I mean, I can't imagine what like more inclusive, higher educated countries think of us when they hear these stories. Like, what are the Finns saying about us? They're very respectful people, and I love the Finns. But like, what if they are not on the record? They have to be going insane.
And
looking at what's happening here.
Yeah, I mean, just in what planet do you see what Florida parents exist like and think they're the ones who should make the decisions for the future of our nation? Florida parents literally sit there being like, I'm tired of these nude statues. Nudity's just meant for cousins and direct family members. And I don't believe racism exists anymore in this country, so you shouldn't teach it, much like you shouldn't teach anything. Quick, get in the car, there's a black person.
Okay, listen, there are good parents in Florida too.
There are not.
And I've told the story of the guy that I ran into who's gay and has got 2 kids in school, and now they can't show pictures with him and one of because that was because of the rainbow flag in the background, but they couldn't write a story about their family vacation. The teacher banned it because she was worried one of the other kids was going to rat her out, and one of the parents would sue. This is Gestapo material. Like, they're getting the kids to turn on each other, and if you even mention that you have a gay dad, she had to write a whole new essay, right? So I know that there are people that are basically held hostage in these red states, and they have to suffer through all of this stuff. But yeah, to your point, Rick, other developed nations are looking at us and going, wow, it is incredibly how backwards America is. We thought that you were the leading nation on earth. Now we're like a laughing stock. We're going back hundreds of years. So yeah, and that's gonna have consequences. It's gonna have economic consequences too. They're like, we thought America was economically stable, but their banks crashed, their politicians are all bought and corrupt. They're banning art and books. Like, really, are you sure we should trust them on trade issues and using the dollar and all these things? No, we have become dangerously backwards.
I agree. They banned a book about Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson is now too woke of an idea. Satchel Paige, too woke of an idea. That is what they are banning. Sports history. It's civil rights history, it's American history, and it's sports history that they're banning now. Seeing these bookshelves emptied, Doc Ritchie and I did a story on Indisputable about a 100-year-old woman who gave a speech in Florida, and she made a quilt of, this was about a year or 2 ago. Prior to that, she brought the quilt to present day when she was giving this speech. She made a quilt of all the books that were banned. Like Harry Potter's on there, and like all these other ones are on there. And she said that this reminds her of Nazi Germany, where she lost her then husband who fought the Nazis. If a 100-year-old Jewish survivor is saying that, then it should give you some pause on what you are doing. Because if that is who is under your house and who you are bonding with, it's a serious problem.
And if you think that AR-15s shooting up our kids in schools is not a problem, but the kids learning about Quidditch in Harry Potter is a problem, you might want to check yourself. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.